wave their arms at 3 minutes, so I'm going to talk until they wave. When Gary asked me to join Rotary, he didn't say you had to give a speech. Don't throw me in the briar patch. Years ago, a member of Parliament was carrying on in a speech, and he said, I was born Irish, I've lived my life Irish, and I'll die Irish. And the man in the back row shouted, my God, man, have you no ambition? I was from Thomasville. I was born on Groundhog Day, 1953, almost 70 years ago, and I forgot a lot, and I remember some too. One of the first people I met was my mother, Ramona Boaz Mitchell. Now, everybody's got a mother, and everybody loves their mother, but Ramona, as she's known in this town, is kind of like Hubert or Warren. She's kind of a unique individual who loves the daylights out of the city, and she was very instrumental in inculcating me with the values that I have, chief among which is I love Thomasville. But she loves government, she loves politics, she loves sports, she loves bulldogs, and she even liked Boy Scouts. And then there's my father, who didn't get a lot in edgewise, so with my mother around the house, Joe Mitchell. One thing he did is work for the city forever, until he dropped dead. And I kind of followed in his footsteps by becoming a city attorney. One more thing about Ramona, she was the first lady woman ever elected to the city council, of which we were tremendously proud. And anymore, it's got to be a habit to have council ladies and all over the government of this great country. So, proud of him. I grew up in Thomasville. In fact, I've spent my entire life in Thomasville, except for 10 years, when I went off to Davidson College, then to Wake Forest Law School, and then the Marines. When I came back, I had my law degree, I started practicing law, and I had a big time, and then they convinced me in Denton to become town attorney in 1984, when I was the ripe old age of 31, and I knew as much city law as any one of you sitting out in the room. After I did that for 5 or 6 years, the word got around that I knew a little bit about what I was doing, and Mayor Jim Norton of Thomasville, who was the father of one of my classmates at Thomasville, Carol Norton, called me up one night and said I needed to be city attorney at Thomasville. If anybody here knew Jim Norton, you would know that Jim Norton did not take no for an answer, and he wouldn't let me beg off. There came a time when I was facing all 7 council members and the mayor being interviewed, and one of them said, well, how can you represent Thomasville and Denton? Is it not a conflict? And I said, it's written, honor thy father and thy mother. So I became city attorney for 2 places, and that explains that. But for a while, Lexington had 2 attorneys, and the saying was that one city has 2 attorneys and 2 cities have 1 attorney. I was city attorney up until about a year ago. I married Vicki Blackley. She's raised down at Black Grocery. Running out of time. Raised at Black Grocery. Her father was the worst Republican in Davidson County, and he voted for every Republican president until he was 99. My grandfather Mitchell of Denton was the worst Democrat, and they were the best of friends. He would take, Granddaddy Mitchell would take SO gasoline to John Myers. So, and I have 3 sons, Joe, John, and Will. Joe is a decorated disabled Marine veteran of Iraq. John recently became the county attorney, the county manager in Henderson County, and he's got 2 granddaughters of mine, which is the best. And Will is a long-distance runner living in Ogden. I'd like to close by saying, people, you may wonder why I joined the Rotary at this age especially. Over the last year, I've been asked 500 times how I like retirement. And I never hesitate to tell the truth, which is, I don't miss the law one little bit, but I miss the people. Did I mention I love Thomasville? Yeah. There was another member of Parliament years later who was speaking about his hometown, and he said, yes, something like this, yes, I'm from Thomasville. And some say it's kind of a humble little place, but there are those of us who love it. And I'm one of it. And I'm speaking to the choir, so I'll sit down and shut up.